Hey YouTube, this is Southern Prepper 1 and welcome to Boots on the Ground. If you have anything you could offer, send it to southernprepper1@yahoo.com. I've received some emails and they were really positive, and it's in regards to sales. This is Old Time Feed and Seed. I've talked about this store. It's in Columbia, South Carolina, but I've actually had numerous people send me reports of positive interaction. So I want to read one. I bought sunchokes from Sales Feed and Seed, who I heard about from you, and had a question about storing them until I could plant them in the spring in Indiana. She actually answered the phone herself, stopped what she was doing, and spent several minutes providing detailed advice. I will be ordering from her again, and then I got another one saying it's extremely helpful. So that's always positive. But this is in Columbia, South Carolina, and if you're not in that area, this really ain't going to help you. But what I'm trying to do is, she's a gardening place, a feed and seed place, and they teach classes. See if you have something similar in your area. Actually, on the February 4th to Saturday from 10:30 to 1, she's going to have making fire starter cubes, Dakota fire pits, and more. They're actually going to be doing some grilling, so bring a skewer, bring whatever you want to cook for shish kebabs, and then they're going to have a time of just fellowship, greeting. So you know, you're probably going to meet some preppers there, or you're going to meet some serious gardeners there. So this is just another way to get community started, to get resources, to get connections and contacts. You got to put yourself out there. Don't sit at your house and send me email. I can't find anybody. You have to work at it. It's hard, but look at your garden spots. Look at any places that offering gardening classes. Spring is coming around the corner. You will meet people that might not be full-fledged preppers, but they're into things that we're into. Let's get right into it. Wanted to send this as a huge encouragement for those who are struggling with getting their family members to listen and prepare. My folks have been long denials. They've been in denial about inflation, about shortages, and they've called me lots of names for being a prepper. About a week ago, they went to a preparedness meeting for the community. The man who spoke asked them to think about things that could happen. There was three things: EMP, earthquake, and volcano, but he made them think about access. We are fairly isolated here, and lots won't really affect us greatly, but access out of the area, bridges, etc. And it gave them reason to begin about thinking about being prepared for an emergency. Not so much about being a prepper for the zombie apocalypse, but for emergencies. Now, they are moving slowly towards getting a supply of water, fuel, food, and coffee. Don't judge. The blood in my family veins is 89% coffee. She's looking into emergency contacts out of state, meeting locations if we have to leave things. Planning to open up more of the garden, or the yard for a garden if needed. And they go on and on. This is getting them thinking about it. As more people wake up to the deteriorating economy and society, it's going to be more chances for us to spread the news of just preparing and getting ready for what's coming. They also said, I talked to my brother at Christmas, and he was noting that his dollar is not going as far as it used to. Don't get me wrong, we make great money, but it's not stretching like it should. He's in full-on prep mode, storing both food and water and coffee. He's looking into a hand pump on his well. So definitely they're getting ready to combat this inflation, and very much could be trying to fight off a depression. Every person that we can wake up and then gets prepared is just a benefit for our community. This person says, I purchased several boxes of graham crackers at Wally World in Bangor, Maine. All boxes were soggy and stale well before the expiration date. I live in a very rural area, and our church was broken into right before Christmas and vandalized. The ugliness is everywhere, even in the rural areas now. I have personal information of layoffs of 200 nurses from United Healthcare. They are sending work from home positions that review hospital records to the Philippines. Other major insurance companies will follow. A tip for women when they shop: since it's wintertime, you can place your credit cards or folded cash in the palm of your hand and then put it in your glove. That way you don't have to take your purse in. Purses are too easy for someone to grab. You can slip your money out of your glove at the cash register. I live in a small farming community in Georgia. My son lives in a county too in Georgia. They're trying to pass legislation there, and I think it's Catazoa county in Georgia. They're going to pass legislation to limit each homeowner to 3 hens and no roosters, and want to do welfare checks on your chicken if they see fit. Also, they want to stop homeowners from having greenhouses, and also they can't have so many raised beds. We have another son who's a truck driver. He drives his own truck. He calls us and tells us the cost is more than if he can run his truck and make a load. So he'd be going in the hole on certain loads if he accepts them. He says it's getting worse by the day, and owner-operators are getting out of the trucking industry by the thousands, and there's already a shortage of drivers. He said if this doesn't change, it will cripple the nation. I listen to your report every day and appreciate what you do to keep us informed. We are a Christian family and know that God is our protector and provider. My husband and I raised 6 children and know how to work hard. I will keep you and your family in our prayers. Thank you. A few days ago, I was shopping at Burlington in Mesa, Arizona, and the store seemed different, yet all the shelves were full. Lots of shoes and clothes. I needed a restroom, and imagine to my surprise when I opened a door and saw this huge looming empty space in the back, and they gave me pictures of it. I don't know if they built a separate wall to divide the place because they didn't have enough merchandise. They also said a few weeks ago I was shopping at the Dollar Tree in Apache Junction, and an employee asked what I was looking for. 2 items I was told are no longer available. There was space where the display's hooks were removed from the pegboard and stacked below, as there was no products to display. This person said, I want to provide a little insight in how Microsoft Azure, A-Z-U-R-E, works, and why China and the governments weren't affected. I work in IT, and I just completed an Azure certification. China requires that all of their cloud infrastructure is placed inside the country and is segregated from the rest of the Azure platform. So it's isolated against the widespread outages like this one. Government cloud infrastructure is separate in a similar matter, so it would have been protected as well. So whatever happened impacted the other regions, which are tied together in a global Azure platform. Since Teams, Outlook, etc. were also impacted, something pretty big must have broken. And I reported about it going down and a lot of countries being down with this. Today, a young man pulled into our driveway and came up to our door. We could tell on our video camera that he tried the doorknob before knocking and eventually ringing the doorbell. My husband went out and spoke to the guy briefly. We had a used car in our front yard, and he was wanting to buy parts off it to fix up other cars. My husband asked him what kind of parts he was looking for, and the guy said exhaust parts, spark plugs, things like that. He was wanting to buy used spark plugs? ? My husband told him we are not parting out our car and sent him on his way. We reviewed the security video after you left, and you can see he was really checking our place out while waiting for someone to come to the door. My husband said he was casing our place. Our home security is pretty good, but now we're looking for ways to make it better. People are getting desperate. Be aware. I want to report on several price increases here. Gas prices for regular gas has jumped in the last week. It's gone up about 60 to 70 cents to $3.70 per gallon. I was fortunate enough to find and buy a dozen eggs for half the price on sale at my local Safeway store. The price of natural gas has gone astronomically high. I've attached pictures of my year-over-year statements, and here's the breakdown. In November of 2021, a therm was $1.96. November 2022 was $2 per therm, so just 4 cents up for a year. And then he said December 2021 was $2.39. December 2022 was $4.85. January 2022 was $3.60. And January 2023 was $5.32 per therm. Same usage each month, year after year. We use about 4.2 therms per month. My thermostat is always set to 68 degrees, and I always wear thermals or a hoodie and at least a pair of socks just to keep warm. Also, the furnace pretty much kicks off every 10 to 15 minutes all day long. So we've been being gouged with high prices and totally ripped off. So yeah, $5.32. I would love to know your total bill. I want you to make you aware of the USDA survey that has been sent out to all farms in the U.S. I received my survey some time ago and didn't open it right away. Along with the survey they sent to my home, I've received at least 3 invitations to go online and complete the survey. Last night I jumped on and took a look at the questionnaire. I just had to say that I could not believe the questions they were asking. For example, here's a short list from the 24-page survey. Yes, 24-page survey. What type of field crops were harvested? Corn, soybeans, beans, wheats, hay, barley, literally from A to Z. Do you have a greenhouse? Do you have an internet connection? If so, is it broadband, cell, etc.? List all the vegetables you grow. Were any fruit, nuts, and berries grown? Hogs, poultry, goats, lambs, on and on. Then they wanted to know the market value of the land, the building, the machinery, and the equipment that we owned. Unreal. Bottom line, I'm not going to answer the survey. When we have thousands coming across the border every day, the USDA can look at my tax return if they want information. I just want to warn your subscribers, as I found this is a complete overreach and I refuse to share what I do on my property. This is from an article. Now they're coming from Canada. Northern border sees a 743% spike in illegal migrants crossing the border this year. So I guess they're flying in from Mexico into Canada and then they're sneaking across the border. I've reported on this before, but it's outrageously high. My son and I went to Walmart recently for supplies. He takes his lunch to school and we buy bottled water for him to take with him. There's 2 aisles of junk food and candy, but only about a half a dozen gallons of water. The rest of the water was just filtered water. We could not find any bottled water except for ones that were individually sold at the coolers up front. I also heard 93% of Americans are not prepared for 2 weeks. So that means 7% of Americans are prepared for 2 weeks. That's a little scary. I recently was on a vacation where I didn't have any TV. I watched a video that spoke about EV owners not paying any taxes because they don't use gas. I have a good friend that has one of these vehicles, and she told me the cost to pay for her plate each year went from $60 to $200. The state said that because she doesn't use gas, that they charge more to people that have EV cars to make up for them not paying the gas tax to maintain the roads. Recession is on its way. The Dallas Fed shows factory activity slumped for 9 straight months. I'll hit the brief points of this thing. The business is sluggish, they're saying. We're seeing increased problems with customer bases. There are uncertainties. We're seeing input cost increases. Activity continues to slip. Definitely seeing a slowdown. We're seeing a slowdown in orders and clients unwilling to hold additional inventory, and that comes from the chemical manufacturers. Primary metal manufacturers are seeing recession is on the way. Machinery manufacturers, order volume has been going down, and we expect the trend to continue. Raw material prices seem to be stable at the present time. Current federal policies are killing small businesses. From diesel prices to shortages, everything costs so much more. In the computer and electronic product manufacturing, we provided significant 10% more raises in December after a mid-year raise in July 22. So this would be raises for employees, and that contributes to inflation. Transportation equipment manufacturers, we have a bleak outlook. And then miscellaneous manufacturers, we continue to see large fluctuation in raw material prices from order to order. Order volumes remain flat across all markets we serve. So, just basically, we are definitely going into recession. Manufacturing is weak. I want to share that I had a skin reaction that was getting worse, so I went to patients first. So that must be the hospital or the medical care facility. Patient first. I had a skin infection that the doctor treated. He had me out in an hour with an antibiotic, and it is beginning to look better tonight. Thank the Lord that I was able to get this help. So yeah, just find a good place and it's worth remembering. So patient first, in and out, got treated, getting fixed. This is a dramatic spike in the amount of new car loans and the amount of the people that are borrowing. It has increased $2,000 in 1 quarter. So it was at $38,000 the average person borrowed on a car. It went up to $40,000. So this is resulting in people having large, huge car payments, and people are starting to fall behind on their car payments. Also, because of the mortgage rates going up, or the interest rates going up, it's just driving the prices up. The president of the International Recovery Systems in Pennsylvania said, "We cannot find enough repo men to meet the demand or space to hold all the cars his company has been tasked with repossessing." This is from Seoul. The NATO Secretary General said he urged South Korea to provide military support to Ukraine, saying the country is in urgent need of ammunition. South Korea has sent material such as gas masks, bulletproof vests, and medical supplies to Ukraine, but has declined to provide lethal weapons, citing a law that prevents it from arming countries engaged in a conflict. I would tell South Korea, don't send anything, because you don't know what North Korea is going to do, and you really don't know what we're going to do to help you if we're sending all of our stuff to be used in Ukraine. So it'd probably be good you have that law, and probably be good that you keep whatever artillery rounds you have. Wow, we went to Tennessee to a private auction wholesale. It's a huge place. We used to find food that is close to expiration, but the prices are really good. Yesterday, the two 100-foot aisles had huge gaps in them. Just about all the food was sugary snacks and sports drinks. One pallet of flour and one pallet of sardines. The rest was junk food. We also saw in every other aisle a person with thick foam-soled shoes acting like they were looking at things, but they never moved about. Are they security? Are they looking for shoplifters? Most of the folks that were there were the age of 60 to 70, looking for bargains, but the food was picked clean as soon as it was put out. Never saw this before. Next, we went to Aldi's in Johnson City, and the stock was good. There was very little coffee to speak of, and while there was beef and chicken, they were priced as expected. Again, lots of processed stuff. The fresh vegetables were well kept. The staff was putting stuff out as fast as they could, and it was being bought up. Starting to feel it here. Glad you were there to keep the news out. Yeah, shortages are occurring everywhere. This is in Pennsylvania. State police are investigating after a homemade explosion was found at a gas transmission facility. Troopers say that the incendiary device was found wedged into a door of an industrial gas pipe at the facility on Reeds Mill Road in Fallowfields Township, Washington County, and this was found on January 26. The members of the state police hazardous device and explosion section, as well as members of the FBI, responded and safely removed the device. My husband and I have been watching your videos for a little over a year, and we love your boots on the ground updates. Today we went to the grocery store to get some cold medicine for our boys. While we were there, we noticed there was not a single bottle of children's Tylenol on the shelf. They are now being stored behind the pharmacy counter, which at this time was locked up for the night. We were lucky to find a single bottle of children's ibuprofen. This was not a case a week ago, and being out of stock is rare for our area, and this store in particular. So, I've been warning you for months and months and months, get what you need. It's better to have it in the pantry or on the shelf than not have it. I regularly go to local Durham's outside of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Found for the first time locked glass doors where the handgun ammunition is stored. Asked one of the store employees if they were stealing the ammunition now. He said yes, a couple of 16 to 17-year-old kids came into the store and cleaned the shelf of ammo out while a guy in a stolen car kept the car running. He said the police gave chase, but they had to stop because they were going too fast because it was getting too dangerous in the very congested cities. So, crime is rising everywhere. Please be proactive, not reactive. This was made by a Poland government official. Russia must cease to exist within today's borders. The collapse of this aggressive empire will bring undeniable advantage to the democratic states of Europe and Central Asia. The West must do away with Russia forever. If this is not signs that we're going to go into a major conflict, Europe and U.S. against Russia, I don't know what is. The rhetoric coming out of Europe and the United States and Russia is not leaning itself to a peaceful solution to the Ukrainian problem. So I hope you are preparing accordingly. I gave you a lot of bad news, but there is a lot of good news out there. Continue to be positive. Pray for our country. Thanks for watching.